Welcome to another edition of Upwave's Customer Showcase, where we are honored to have thought leaders from our customers tell our audience about the latest in brand measurement and brand building. I'm very excited today to be joined by Darren Olive, President of Ad Sales of Crackle Connex. Welcome, Darren.
Hey, Chris, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing great. Excited for this conversation. So let's start, Darren, with a conversation that we have all the time with advertisers, which is about the power of CTV, which a lot of people probably think of Crackle, both as consumers watching your CTV content or advertisers buying your CTV inventory, as a company that's strong in CTV. And we've always heard of this best of both worlds argument that CTV has the granular targeting of digital and the immersive storytelling of linear. So is that best of both worlds promise playing out in your view?
Absolutely. We've seen incredible growth across not only our apps and our networks, but our fast channels as well. And we're really working on creating an original strategy tied with licensing strategy and pushing that out, all ad supported and all free across all different platforms. So we're seeing tremendous growth, continued growth across all our networks.
That's great. And I also liked to see recently that Crackle Connex is about more than just one screen, that your job, as you mentioned before, is to build brands outside of just one screen and reach consumers wherever they are. So I'd love to hear you talk about your recent investments and expansions, even into some out-of-home inventory.
Absolutely. So yeah, last year we acquired Redbox, which as many people know, Redbox is not only a massive streaming service for TVOD and AVOD content across apps and fast channels, but it's also a tremendous digital out-of-home network. We have about 34,000 kiosks that are sitting inside and outside major retailers, convenience stores, whether it's an Albertsons, a Walmart, or even a CVS, a Walgreens. Within that network, we have the ability to reach consumers through advertising messaging, both display and video advertising. So we're getting at the point of sale element. When you combine that with our free ad-supported streaming services, we really have the opportunity to reach consumers both in the home and out of the home. And we're going to talk a lot about that in the upcoming IAB New Fronts.
That's great. Yeah, I'm sure your advertisers will be excited to hear what you're going to share at the New Fronts. And zigzagging back to CTV for a second, very curious to hear what you're hearing and what you're hearing from marketers about expectations for CTV measurement. Certainly, we hear everything in the press talking about currencies, especially for traditional linear currencies, how those are being reinvented. So what are marketers asking you when it comes to CTV measurement? What are they expecting you to provide?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a digital medium, we can provide measurement and targeting that is at the granular level. And we've always been able to do that from the perspective of again, having digital metrics. But what we are doing as we kind of swim upstream to the kind of almighty TV dollar, we always have to work better with advertisers that want to maybe transact in that traditional currency. So whereas we've been working very closely with companies like Nielsen, obviously that has a foothold in that measurement currency, but also working with companies like iSpot that are really kind of challenging the status quo. Because they are a digital-first, digital-born company, we feel like the measurement opportunities within iSpot is certainly more akin to our properties. And so we will offer that flexibility in the upfronts or in scatter, where they can still transact on demographic, but working with companies like iSpot across all platforms. So we're really excited about that. And again, just giving more opportunity and more flexibility to clients.
Yeah, that's great. So another word that's in the press a lot besides currency is recession, or at least the phrase potential recession. So we know a lot of advertisers are thinking of how they're going to brand build in a recession. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Specifically, what can Crackle Connex do for your advertisers while their budgets are under pressure?
Right. So it's interesting. We look at it almost from an outside consumer perspective, in that just by nature, we're offering free content to consumers, to customers. And so by offering free movies, TV shows across all our different platforms, or cost-efficient entertainment through our DVD service and our TVOD service, we're providing a service to them where they can get entertainment for free or for a low-cost price point without having to subscribe, without getting locked into a monthly fee. So from a consumer standpoint, we're there, and we're feeling the pain that they're feeling, and we're again wanting to give them choice. From an advertiser perspective, certainly we know that dollars need to be stretched, and the ability to move campaigns around, be flexible when you're up, when you're pulling back, giving them options to pull dollars when they need, when times are tough. Certainly we can do that. Price is certainly, being pushed, and brand metrics is certainly something that we can offer, and working with companies like you that help us to show the effectiveness of our campaigns and efficiency of our campaigns is also very, very important.
Yeah. So speaking of which, would love to take a peek at some numbers. I was sneaking a look at a campaign you guys recently measured for an insurance advertiser, the General, and was very impressed with the results, especially compared to our benchmarks and norms. And this specific campaign I looked at, I saw 5% lift in awareness, 5% in purchase intent, 4% consideration, almost 7% in familiarity. Really wonderful lift metrics that you and the General are able to create by partnering. So love to hear any thoughts on how can other advertisers repeat this great news for you. I'm sure everyone would love those great outcome numbers that you were able
Yeah,
to achieve for the General.
this has really been a fantastic campaign, an ongoing campaign that we've been working with Upwave on, with the General Insurance, and obviously our networks. The campaign was around an original series, Inside the Black Box, that we created last year. We're now into season 2 of it, and we just got our second round of campaign results from it. But at a high level, all the KPI increases across season 2 were bigger than season 1, and you mentioned some of the numbers there that we're very, very proud of, proving that we're building a very strong relationship with the brand and the show. And again, it's all about incrementality to one season to the next. Awareness, purchase intent, familiarity, all up. What we looked at, though, was not only the brand integration opportunities, but what we call show adjacent opportunities and sponsorship elements, whether it was custom tag tune-ins that we created for them, presented by billboards, even social posts and other elements that performed really, really well and better than their standard media. Media did very well, but when we look at those show adjacent opportunities, worked really well. So clearly we were buoyed by the deep brand integration opportunities, but having that show adjacent element sitting alongside of it did really, really well. We also saw significant lift among their target audiences, which were multicultural. So AA and Hispanic through the roof. So everything kind of hit, and we felt like, again, we're gaining momentum and gaining steam one season into the next.
That's great. Yeah, phenomenal performance in that campaign, and glad you have a strategy for repeating that, not just with insurance advertisers, but all of your advertising clients. That's great to hear. So I'll close on a lighter note with an acronym question, which I like to ask people. When will we stop saying CTV and just say TV? And I ask this because I have young kids and they don't think about CTV or other labels. They just think of it as television, maybe just video. You have any predictions there?
Yeah, I mean, again, we all look back to what's happening in our homes and what we see from, in my case, kids that range in age from 15 down to 3. And so I can tell you that, the difference in the way in which they watch video or TV is very different in the screen that they're watching. And so, I don't necessarily know that there's a difference in their minds from CTV or even on demand versus live, but really it's the screen and the environment that they're watching and what size of that screen is. The way in which my son binges shows on mobile versus when he's sitting in front of the television screen is vastly different. Mobile devices are very passive, and it's kind of a fleeting moment when he could sneak it in and move on. But when the kids are watching the television set and watching that big HD screen in the living room,
Yeah.
I can tell you that there's a lot more attention, and that feeds right into what our value proposition is in CTV. Is we're providing that captured moment, that share where they're leaning in and they're watching that program when they want to watch it and capturing it. So I love seeing that. I love seeing it in a younger audience that is kind of being shaped with all the different media opportunities. And I think proving out what we all anecdotally have said for a long time, and now proving that out. So
Yeah, that's great. Good reminder that no matter what we call different channels, different screens, that big screen hanging in our living room still drives a lot of attention, and
absolutely.
a great chance to build brands, having your ads run on that big screen in the living room. Good reminder to all of us. So, well, thank you, Darren. Appreciate your comments and appreciate you joining us today. And I know our audience will appreciate this customer showcase and appreciate hearing from you. But thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.